There were 3 small trees in a forest. They were dreaming about what they would become in the future when they grow up. The first tree looked at the stars in the sky and said, "I want to shine like this. I want to be gold-plated and carry diamonds to become the rarest jewelry box in the world." The second tree, pointing to the distant sea, and said, "I want to turn to a ship and want to cross the great seas. I will carry all the emperors and I will be the most powerful ship in the world." The third small tree saw the valley below it. Men and women were actively working there. That said, "I am not going to leave this mountain, I want to grow very tall. Then people who see me will think of God who made me grow into such a big tree. So I will be the tallest tree in the world." Many years passed. The rain and sun came and went. Those little trees also grew taller. One day, 3 woodcutters climbed the mountain. Looking at the first tree, the first woodcutter said, "This tree is so beautiful. That's enough for me." The first tree fell down, cut by his dazzling axe. "I'm going to turn into a beautiful jewel box now. I am going to bear great treasures like diamonds and pearls," the first tree said happily. The second woodcutter looked at the second tree. "This tree is very firm. This is very relevant to me," he said. The second tree also fell down, cut to the range of his axe. That second tree thought that "I am going to become a ship, a great ship that emperors would sail." The mind was startled to the third tree, the woodcutter, turned towards it. It stood silently without protest. "This tree is enough for me," he said, tilting the tree in one cut. The third tree also leaned down. It was very happy to see that the first tree cut was brought to the carpenter's workplace. But the carpenter did not turn it into a gold box. Instead, he designed it as a wooden trough for drinking water and fodder for his cattle. The tree, thought to be a box of gold, was transformed into a cistern, turning dusty and for feeding hungry farm animals. The second tree became very excited when it was cut and carried it to a shipyard. But he did not use it to ship. Instead, it transformed into a small fishing boat. The tree that was supposed to be a huge ship in the big sea eventually turned into a fishing boat sailing on a small lake. The woodcutter cut the third tree into pieces and set it aside, not knowing what to do with it. That tree was so upset that "Why God paralyzed me like this, I just wanted to glorify Him." Many days and nights passed. The trees had forgotten all the dreams they had had. But, one night, a slave girl came to the barn with no place to have a baby and gave birth. That first tree glowed with joy when she put the baby in the wooden tub to bath the newborn baby. There is no greater wealth in the world than this child. So I was glad that my wish had come true, said the tree. It was like this: a day fisherman was traveling in the fishing boat. Suddenly there was heavy thunder. The boat capsized at the speed of the wind. He disappeared into the back of the boat and swam away. The boat turned into a shield and saved him from the heavy wind. The second tree rejoiced at. What could be happier than saving a man's life? The third tree was worrying. After a long day that nothing like this had happened to him, they searched the tree for a chariot for a temple festival. It was cut and the pieces of the third tree was taken for the temple. The third tree was converted to a chariot carrying God in him. They tried to bring the God in it and bring the procession. The chariot was decorated with flowers. God was brought and put in the chariot. Now he was the tree transformed into a chariot carrying the God himself, and all the men who saw him in the street was worshipping him. It was mind-boggling that I longed for this, said the third tree. Thus all three trees had a better understanding that the true joys of life are to help others even when they do not get what they desire.